Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Brother Brothers, the ultimate unofficial podcast. I'm your Big Brother live feed obsessed host, Fox Van Allen, and joining me this week, as is the case every week throughout the Big Brother 22 season, join me in welcoming my friend, Puppet Lance Cartelli. Hello, Puppet Lance.
Hello, Fox. You're looking really handsome today.
Why, thank you, Lance. I am looking handsome.
Have you heard about my Emmy?
No, you've never talked about your Emmy before. Anyway, regular Lance, unavailable today, had an emergency come up. That's why we've got the puppets, for just in case something like this happens. This is an insurance policy that's paying off like crazy today. But do not worry, faithful listeners, do not worry. We actually have a fantastic guest for you today. Someone, dare I say, even better than Lance Cartelli. Join me in welcoming a favorite of mine from Big Brother Over the Top. Join me in welcoming the quote-unquote gamer of Big Brother Over the Top, Alex Willett. Hello, Alex.
Oh my God! Is this a thing y'all do? I'm not like a big podcast person. I don't like watch stuff, so I'm caught off guard right now, and I'm obsessed. And how can I drive to LA and get that from you at some point?
Absolutely. So
okay, cool.
So this is season 2 of Big Brother Brothers. We are rolling out all the stops, including puppets. We have puppets all season long. We've been doing it for all our fantastic guests. We had McCrae on last week.
Stop.
McCrae was fantastic. We had Mike Bloom from RHAP. Fantastic.
Wait, y'all are the coolest.
No, you're the coolest. You're like,
this is the coolest Big Brother podcast for sure.
Puppets. Stop. Go on, but stop. No, you are like, if you want to say we're cool, I don't know about that, but like you're like the reality TV cool kid, like as far as I'm concerned, because like every time I live in LA, Lance lives in LA, we do this thing like. I live right next to the Big Brother house, so please, no wall shouters. Like, it keeps me up at night. Please don't. But I have been going, since this wonderful job has taken me to Big Brother events, I've been to Big Brother, I've been to RHAP events, I've been to Big Brother events, I've been to sequester events, and I wind up seeing you all the time. You are like the reality TV cool kid. I don't blame you because I want to go to all these things too.
It's like when you live in LA and there's all this fun stuff happening, you just want to go like see everyone and talk to everyone. So yeah, I know I've met you at multiple events. So.
Back in the before times, that's how it works. And now we just meet each other on the internet here, in the safety of the Big Brother Brothers bubble. So. We're all safe and protected here. Before we get started into talking about Tyler's HOH and Janelle going home and our new HOH, and we got so much to talk about. But before we do, I want to see how things are going with you. This is the first time we've ever talked with you. So fill us in a little bit about your life since Big Brother Over the Top. And give us a little bit about this season. Yeah, you've obviously been watching, so.
I have been. Okay, so since OTT ended, I first moved back home to Texas, and then I immediately came back to California, and I live with my sister now. We live together. So that's going well-ish. We still fight, but like one day we'll stop. I work for a startup right now. I do the creative and design and videography and animation for this travel company, so it's really fun. And I feel like I've kind of gone back to normal life now, minus I'm on those BB Twitter streets with y'all tweeting about the season, and so
yeah, it's a little bit of like normalcy, or at least as normal as it gets. We've got some Big Brother to talk about, and as McCrae said last week when we were talking to him, even a bad season of Big Brother is still Big Brother. Not that I'm calling this season a bad season of Big Brother, because we are in week 3. There is so much to happen. Like you're not even like talking about week 3 when you're thinking about like, is the season good? So like there's plenty to go. I know we lost Janelle, and that's a heartbreaker. Are you a big Janelle fan?
It's funny because coming into the season, I've always loved Janelle. How can you not love Janelle? But I am now like a Janelle Dan. I'm like ready to make a sign, like greeting her at the airport when she's flying back to Minnesota. Like, and Morgan too. Morgan like didn't even really know much about Janelle, my sister Morgan from OTT.
Mm-hmm.
And she is like, she wants to dress up as Janelle for Halloween. Like, we're like fan girls now. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I love her.
But it's hard not. America loves Janelle. Like Julie, we all were yelling at our TV.
Yeah.
It was a tough week because we knew going into this week, last week when we were talking about here's who wins HOH, we knew this is not going to be a good week for either Janelle or Kaysar. Whatever happens, someone's going to win the veto. Someone's going home. It's probably going to get broken up. There's some really great work that Janelle puts in here, trying to change things, and respect to her for fighting till the very end. You love that. It's a lot better block performance than we got last week from both of those folks. But it is a heartbreaker to see that Janelle goes home, and she goes home here with a 9-2 vote, which apparently breaks Julie's brain. Like, she had to do a complete reboot.
The Chen bot was broken last night.
Despite the fact she knows what a hinky vote is. And we saw one last week.
Which was incredible.
Yeah. I think it's just the script. She was so sure about Dani, and then if you had watched the live feeds, Julie, you would have known. We saw Dani. Dani actually pitched this idea, not that it's a spoiler, but it's live feed from last week, so I feel like it's fair game to talk about. But Dani was suggesting to Cody like earlier in the week, like, hey, you know what we should do? We should throw a hinky vote at this. And Cody's like, no, that's so dumb. What do you think since you are the Big Brother gamer? I want your opinion on this because it's this 9-2 vote. First of all, is this throwing some hinky votes in there? Is this a good move? Who is this for? What do you think?
Well, okay. On my season, I was notorious for throwing a hinky vote week 1. And I did that because as a fan of the game, you want to see people making kind of like mischievous, diabolical moves. So the fact that Dani did that, I understand she's not very well liked right now, but I think it is hard to deny that she's willing to play the game. So I was all for it. I liked that Dani did that. If anything, we were clamping at the bit for just something interesting to happen because we all knew like Janelle was going home. So Dani and Enzo throwing those votes, I was on board. I liked it. So.
Yeah. It's interesting. They were thinking. Enzo did it last week as well. I don't know. There was a lot of speculation this week. A lot of people ready to shoot a gun over who this vote was. I'm sure it was to throw a little bit of speculation there that it was Bailey and Devon who did it. That's probably what you're looking at here. But it's interesting. I'm glad to see someone's playing the game, but it's very interesting seeing it at a Dani. This entire week has kind of been like a Dani coming out party. And Dani is, if you thought Nicole Franzel was the villain of Big Brother 22. Oh, no.
Oh, it's Dani.
Oh, no. It is Dani.
Dani. But Dani owns being a villain. She owns it. She knows she's the villain. And that's why I still am a Dani fan, even though like she's teamed up with Nicole, who's quite possibly the most annoying cast member on this season. I love Dani. Like I enjoy that she knows who she is, she knows what she's doing, and she knows what kind of game she's gonna play.
Yeah. I think it was during the veto episode, we got a nice long Dani segment where she's talking about all the people she's working with and how eager she is to stab everybody in the back. And it's great. It's great to see. And I gotta say, like, I feel like I was getting almost like Paul vibes from Dani.
Yes.
In like that it's not just that she's playing kind of like this villain game, but she's almost doing it like this, like almost like evil, manipulative, like convincing people to play badly. And I think you see that like with Nicole. Like I think a lot of Nicole Franzel has a rough week. Like this is, first of all, she's got Janelle on her the entire week, which is like one thing, and that's throwing her off completely. But at the same time, she's got Dani who's like, hey, you know what you should do in your goodbye message? You should uninvite her to the wedding. And it feels like something that's like totally out of like Nicole's, like that doesn't seem like a Nicole thing. But like she's getting influenced by like, you know, you should do this. You should do this. And I think that it also comes out with the have not thing too. It's like she's like throwing punches in her Nicole way, in her like friendly Midwestern Nicole way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What do you you talked a little bit about Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole. I'm trying to like, you don't got anything nice to say, don't say it at all like that. Nicole is I hope that Nicole. Is that, wait,
Nicole.
wait. Have you shown this to? Is that a snake?
Yeah,
you need to show this to Meech. Meech needs to see this ASAP.
Our Nicole puppet is a snake. It is a giant snake.
That is
Multiple. She started it. Big Meech did start it, but I believe Nicole on her way out the door, Nicole Anthony also did point out that she is a little bit. She gets the rattle. She gets the rattle sound effect. She gets that. So
yeah, I mean, Nicole, I just want Nicole to own who she is. I want her, I mean, everybody says this. We all want her to stop playing the victim. And that's what she is right now. She's just, doing all Dani's dirty work, but still acting like her hands are clean. And, she's everybody's friend. Everything's kumbaya. So, yeah, I'm very much team Dani, but I'm not team Nicole this season.
What do you think about her game, like Nicole's game? Because I wanted to say, like, in the beginning of the season, it looked like she was set up very well. She's in kind of the right power alliances, but now that we've reached week 3, it seems like there are a lot of people, even on her side, who are like talking about like not a big fan of Nicole.
Yeah, it's funny. In my heart, my gut tells me I think Nicole is going to go to the end of this game. I think Dani's going to get picked off before her. I think Cody and Tyler are bigger threats. She's won, so you almost want to take her to the jury or to the final 2 because she's already won. Like, to me, I really, really think Nicole is going to go all the way, which is so unfortunate for the viewers this season.
She could. She very well could.
Yeah.
She's got a few folks. I feel like when she winds up on the block, it's going to be with Ian there probably, and that's like your get out of jail free card.
For sure. She's set up so nicely in this game, and I do feel a little bit bad because I feel like everybody is kind of hating on her, but she is set up so well, and I do think she is playing a decent game. I want to like look at it from a game perspective and be like, like I'm going to give her credit for as much whining as she does. Like, she is playing a solid game. She knows how to play the game.
She sure does. She is fantastic at this game, and that's one of the things I said going into this. Like, I don't know if I was there, I would be able to play with her because I know her game. Like, she is so good at it. And she will smile at you and you think you're working with her. And then she's going to stab you in the back so quick. And she's great at it. And that's why, like, if you look at, like, we don't have a lot of women winners of Big Brother. She is a winner. And, like, I know there's a lot of, like, does she deserve it? Does she not? She 100% deserves it. Even though I know there's a lot of controversy out there. In fact, I think actually earlier this week, I think on Twitter, we had a moment with Natalie from Big Brother 18 was talking about suggesting maybe she if she had it all to do it all over again, she wouldn't have voted for Nicole. She had voted for Paul. So
yeah, I saw that tweet.
Yeah,
but I was like, it doesn't count. You can't say that 4 years later, count. Natalie. That's right. It doesn't count.
That's right. If the jury was allowed to see what would be going on, we'd have Big Brother 3 over and over and over.
Oh yeah, over and over and over.
Yeah. All right, so let's stop talking about Nicole. We've talked about her enough. We don't need to talk about not talk about Nicole anymore. Who I do want to talk about a little bit is David, because David had, for someone who was not on the block, David had quite the busy week. David here, if we remember from Big Brother 21 in his Camp Comeback uniform, who would have thought that Camp Comeback would be peak David? That would be when David looked his best,
David
and smartest,
at his
and
prime,
most capable at playing Big Brother. And now this season, what is going on?
I don't know. I made a tweet last year during season 21 being like, David has to come back. He is a strategic genius. I basically called him like the second coming of Dan, and I honestly have never been more embarrassed. My judgment was off. It was so off. I think the thing that's horrifying to me, like, I love David as a person. I think he's great, but how when you're in a game for $500,000 and you have a 1 in 16 shot, do you not study the game beforehand? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, like, I do. Thank you.
Like it's horrifying. It literally like makes me like want to just run in there and shake him. Like I know he's gonna get like nailed when he gets out for admitting that, but it's just that poor kid.
It's as like a Survivor fan, it's like the same thing as going to the island without knowing how to make fire. You know it's gonna come up. You've seen the show before, or wait, maybe David hasn't, and that's the problem. But you'd think that maybe by the time you're back on it for a second time that you've seen
an all-star season, like all stars. This is not just like him coming back like for 18, like there's a returning. This is all stars, and he has not seen a season.
Yeah. Now there are people who have never seen Big Brother who are good at who can pick it up. Like I want to say Paul from Big Brother 18. He was in week 1 bragging how he'd never seen the show and thought that would be a huge advantage. Spoiler alert, it's not a huge advantage to have no idea what you're getting into. But I just don't understand why like David does so many basic things wrong that you'd know if you just watched the show, and it's really frustrating to see. And he's done plenty of smaller things wrong. If you're watching a David conversation in the house, chances are it's going poorly. He's making enemies out of people he's not enemies with. He's suggesting that eventually he's going to put you on the block because that's how the game works. So we're going to be on the block at some point. This week he gets into trouble where he's got going into this week, he's actually not in the worst position because he's working with the guys who are in the Power Alliance. He may not be in the 6, so to speak, but he's kind of in that orbit area around it where, if the 6 start shooting at each other, David's going to help out someone in that group. And he just throws it all away this week by taking information that Devon was maybe trying to flip the vote on Nicole. He goes to Devon and he says where he got the information from. He heard it from Tyler, also got some Cody in there. So why not throw 2 people under the bus? And it goes about as well as you can imagine, especially when the next thing he does is tell Tyler that he did the whole thing. Like
what? The entire time that was happening, I was just staring at my phone, like scrolling through the updates, being like, "This is not real. This is not real. This is real." And it was honestly like he's so sporadic. He almost reminds me of like Jose or something, where he just like word vomits stuff and doesn't really know what's happening. I think his time is coming. His time is very limited in the Big Brother house. So.
Yeah, and he could have and. As if he doesn't get in his own way, he could make it so far just by kind of being that person who doesn't know a lot about the game, because no one's worried about that person unless that person starts making really bad rookie mistakes. And we have a lot of people calling him a rookie.
He just needs to, if he could just shut up, listen to exactly what Tyler says, he would probably guarantee himself $50,000 for second place. That's pretty good because he's not going to win unless he goes with Tyler and just, accept second place. So I don't know.
You never know. He could all of a sudden in 2 weeks get it.
I wish this for him. I wish this miracle for him.
It's fan fiction right now, but theoretically, maybe he winds up next to Memphis or something, or someone like anything could happen there.
I like your optimism. I really love the optimism right now.
I'm trying to stay positive. I know there are 2 or 3 David fans out there.
Whoever runs his Twitter account, though, I'm like,
yes.
I don't know who it is, but I want to meet them. I want to be them. I want them to be my best friend. So they're so funny.
Kudos to them for keeping good spirits, because I don't know what kind of messages and the volume of which they're dealing with every day about David's game.
Can you imagine? It's got to be brutal.
Unfortunately, I can imagine. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, so we obviously have way more to talk about. We've just cracked the surface of this vote. I got plenty more to talk about. I want to talk more about Enzo. I want to talk a little bit more about Memphis. I want to talk a little bit more about Bailey and Devon. We're going to do all of that. We're going to do it right after this. All right, so we're back. I want to say I want to get your opinion on Bailey and Devon because they seemingly from the beginning of the game positioned themselves almost in the middle, where they're kind of working with the folks who are on the outside, and they're also working with the people who are involved with in the power, and they are part of this Slick Six Alliance. Say that 5 times fast, 6 times fast. Anyway. What do you think about their games?
Yeah, I think that Devon is playing the exact same game she has always played. I think if she doesn't go out pre-jury, I think she'll be out very early in the jury. But Bailey has impressed me. I think that Bailey right now is weighted down by being associated with Janelle, but hopefully once this week passes and like Janelle and if Kaysar leaves, like once they're out of the house, Bailey can kind of regain her footing and go deep into the game. I've been so impressed by Bailey's social game this season.
Yeah, she is. Yes, I agree. I like her social game. And I do want to point out that as a fan of the challenge and someone who's seen the last season that she is on, she is a great competitor as well. Like she is someone, and she won HOH on her season when she was on 20. So don't sleep on her. As long as she doesn't have some kind of weird hacker twist messing things up, she'll do okay. Yeah. But I know you know a little bit about that, about having power and having some twist come in and mess things up a little bit.
That was my life.
That was like the story of your season, really. It was
power? What's that?
But anyway, I'm a big Devon fan. I have loved Devon. Like, how can you not be a Devon fan?
Yeah,
she's fantastic.
She gives unbelievable TV.
She is fantastic TV. And I am rooting for her to go very far. Like she is someone I want to see do very well. But I am nervous about her position in the game because she has taken a few hits this week. Not just we talked a little bit about the David Tyler, where I mean that's not helpful, right? But in addition to this, we got Dani. Dani's also working overtime to sow seeds of doubt about Bailey and Devon as well, especially Devon in the safety suite competition. Devon apparently really does just want to get a costume, and Dani realizes she really just wants to get a costume, but this is so sketchy. Tyler, look what's going on. This is so sketchy.
Yeah. I don't know. I look at Bailey and Devon, and I recognize that the Power Alliance is going to want to break up that duo, the perceived duo. And Bailey has Tyler, and Bailey kind of has Enzo in her pocket. And it's like, who does Devon really have in the house? Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm with you. I want Devon to go so far. I think she's phenomenal TV. 2, I just feel like it's time she deserves like make it her highest ranking or whatever. But I really feel like she is going to be out so soon. Hopefully I'm wrong though.
Yeah, Devon, I feel like Devon's playing a great game, or she was playing a great game if this is a season that really does wind up breaking up into one side versus another side. And we do have that. We do have one side versus another side. But the problem is that one side is winning and the other side is not.
I know. We need some comp beasts on the other side.
And if that side doesn't win, it's like they're great. They're still around because they are positioned in the middle and not over on that side. But that's also tricky because they are seen, like you said, there is a little bit of a connection between Janelle and Bailey. That few people on the outside. It's a physical game. That's the problem. Yeah. It is such a physical game. And this season we've seen even this veto competition that's a puzzle is still very physical because of how large these giant cupcake things are. So even when you're not doing a physical comp, there's still a physical comp.
I know. They have 1 week to get it together, that side of the house, or it's all crumbling. So hopefully this upcoming HOH is the biggest crapshoot ever. It requires no athletic ability. Devon, Kevin, come on, let's make something happen.
We gotta get Devon a win somewhere.
Please,
because she has played Big Brother too much to not have a win.
I know. And she was so good on the challenge too. She was a beast. So I'm like, okay, Right. She has the potential. So CBS Big Brother gods, please. Please make it happen.
Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed too, because I want to see her do well. But it's I don't know. I'm very curious to see where the rest of the competitions go this season. I know a lot of people have been. It was on the radar since like night one with that really heavy table competition, where it's like, are these these are very like even more physical than last year, some of these competitions. And the problem is the ones that aren't physical, the physical threats are winning anyway.
Can we get like the counting comp or something that requires nothing but your brain and luck? I would just like to even this out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The counting comp. That's what I want. Heath, if you're listening, we want the counting comp.
That would be good. And not just because we know that Devon's been in there counting everything in the house. That's not the only reason. But I do like those. I do like those. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it's worth rewarding people who are a little bit crazy in the house and willing to count each and every rubber duck that's on the wall.
100%.
Yeah. So let's. I want to talk to you a little bit. I feel like this week we're just talking about people, but I feel like it's just because like everybody's in their own interesting spot in the game. But let's talk about Enzo. Because Enzo, who was not known as a comp beast in Big Brother 12, is all of a sudden winning stuff here in this season. He's got a veto, and now he's got a safety suite competition win, where he picks up the victory here, like the meow meow, nice and smooth. To be fair, a lot of people were just throwing a comp. Like you didn't have to worry too bad. I guess Nicole didn't throw the comp, but it looked like she did, just based on how bad she was. But Enzo is coming through. I'm curious, what do you think about Enzo's game here?
I think he's playing an unbelievable game. I like that he is physical and can apparently win comps now, but his social game is just out of this world. It's funny because last April 2019, pre-COVID, me and Caitlin Herman from BB20 met up with Enzo when he was in LA, and I've never really interacted with the guy before, but I remember meeting up with him and thinking this guy has the best personality I've ever met in a human. So I'm not shocked that he has the entire house wrapped around his finger. I think he's going to go so far in this game, even though he is a physical threat. I don't even think that's going to matter. I don't think he's going to be targeted for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I am all in on Enzo here.
Wait, with the banana.
Riding his giant banana. It's the only
time.
You
need to send all of these to the house guests when they get out.
Of course. I
feel like people would very much appreciate that.
Yeah. No, Enzo is just a fantastic character. Like as like team TV, watching people because we got like the bidet segment, like. That's just a chunk of Enzo right there.
How did they find this guy for Big Brother? Do you know what I'm saying? He's like that. He's like a Justin Duncan where you look at him and you're like, who are you? Like, where did you come from and how did you end up on this show?
And those are my favorite. Like, I love those. I love when they find these fantastic people. But he's even given us stuff on the live feeds because he was a have-not this past week, and he did not do very well as a have-not. He was eating bags of Ricola cough drops. He was eating bowls of ketchup. This is an entertaining gentleman. This is a guy who is, everybody's gonna love him because how can you not? And that is especially if he's winning competitions, that's a dangerous guy to have in the house. And I am very proud to have picked him as my office pool pick. Come on, big money.
Wow.
Come on, small money.
Yeah. Wait, how much do you win if you
Not
win?
Not a lot.
Oh, well,
Enzo's playing for 500,000. I'm playing for 5 fewer zeros. Let's not get it too crazy here. But no, I love his game. I think he's doing fantastic. And I liked his move to save Christmas. Enzo saves Christmas. It's just the opening blurbs for Big Brother write themselves here. It was a smart move, right? Like it's smart.
I mean, honestly, when you think, now that you mentioned Christmas, you got me on this tangent thinking, I really do feel like Christmas and Enzo are playing the two best games right now in terms of social game. And they're just so well situated in their alliance, and they're just sociable people. I feel like they're doing really well, which is interesting because coming into this, I would not have predicted those two to be in my opinion, the top two right now.
No,
So.
I'm glad you mentioned Christmas here, who gets the star baby punishment, which is actually a lot of fun. Like as far as punishments go,
it's one of the better ones for sure.
It was fun just because it kept going and they kept just throwing these pillows at her, and I thought that was a lot of fun. But I agree with you. I think she is playing a very good game. She is one of the people who I was actually not upset to hear that she was getting a second chance at this, because her 19 game is so different than the game she wanted to play. Give her a chance to do what she wants. And so far, not too bad. Yeah. Like, I feel like of all the, like, the women in the house have, like, all of a sudden they're in trouble, because we've already lost 3 women. And if you look at the list of targets, a lot of women are on that list of targets and not a lot of guys. But Christmas is one of the few women in the house who is not on that target list. You're going to see Nicole go before you see Christmas go. Mm-hmm. You're going to see Dani go before you see Nicole.
Yeah.
You're going to see probably one of Bay or Day go before you see Christmas go. She's in a really good spot.
She is in such a good spot. And it's interesting knowing what she's capable of now, because she is proving to be a bit of a strategic dart. Like, she's not like a David who's just aimlessly walking around. So it makes you go, I wonder what she would have been like in 19 had she been at her full capability. Would she have been a Paul minion? Would she have been doing something strategic? Like, it's really interesting seeing what she's capable of now. Yeah. So in that sense, I am glad we have her back.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I don't hate her social game either. Like, she is, whenever Nicole is crying, she is there to lend a stronger person than me. I don't know that I can do it.
She's doing her thing. Yeah, she has the patience of a saint, is what's happening in that house right now. So
yeah, don't sleep on Christmas. For sure.
Truly.
Yeah, she is. She's going to be around for a while. Now, I want to talk about someone who might not be around for a while, or maybe get your opinion on it. Memphis, our previous week's HOH, who did some damage to himself last week, and this week, no reason why he should do any damage to himself. And yet he makes a spectacular show of throwing both competitions this week in such a poor way that everyone knows that he threw these competitions. Like, what is going on with this guy?
I have no idea. And he was my winner pick, like my preseason winner pick. So I'm horrified that I didn't pick like Christmas or Enzo. So you killed that one. But yeah, no, Memphis, I mean, I like to think that there's still like a chance he can salvage his game, but he's done a poor job this past week. And it's hard to really imagine that this is the Memphis from season 10 that we're seeing right now. It feels like a completely different person, right?
It does. Or maybe this is just the Memphis that we never got, because
was
Memphis...
Dan just that good that he masked Memphis? Like, was Dan just that good that we did not see this Memphis because Dan was like puppeteering him? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think there was a part of the game where, you know, a lot of people did not care for Memphis, right? There was that big vote where people are concerned that Memphis is a womanizer, and Memphis is...
Was it season 10? I need to go back and rewatch season 10.
Back in season 10. It was like that big vote that split the house. That was a Memphis, that was Memphis staying, I believe, over Jesse, right? Anyway, like, this is the first time Memphis has had any power in the game. Last time, a Big Brother 10, he was just kind of there as part of a partnership. The moment he gets power, he's terrible. He just doesn't know.
You know who he reminds me of? Who? He reminds me of Monty from my season.
Oh, really?
Just like total power trip. Like, Monty on my season would lock the HOH door, and you had to like ask permission from Monty to go to the bathroom. He would carry the key around. He'd wear his robe around the house. They are one and the same. They are meant to be best friends.
Oh, no.
That's all.
Oh, no.
That's my spiel. I love Monty to death, but yeah, him and Memphis. Yeah.
Memphis will never be as good looking as Monty is. Monty will always have that.
Monty will be very flattered to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Not that Memphis doesn't have the arms. He does have the arms. Last week we showed off in his little jean.
His little vest.
His jean vest. That's right.
His trademark piece.
His jean vest and his gigantic head. That is what he is.
Literally.
Yeah. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about the coming week, because we we were there at the HOH competition last night. We record on Fridays, so we were watching it last night. And it has a lot of promise. Like going into the once we cut to go and play Tough as Nails or Young Sheldon or whatever the hell comes after the show. It's always when I watch it on CBS All Access, it's always Tough as Nails. That's all I get after this show.
I don't even know. I've seen so many promos for that, and I still to this day have noticed. Like, I don't know what that is. Have you watched it?
I actually have. Yeah.
Is it good?
I don't know.
Is it better than Young Sheldon?
Maybe. I would say I'm more likely to watch an episode of Tough as Nails than I am to watch an episode of. I will let the episode of Tough as Nails play a little bit longer than I will let an episode of Young Sheldon. Fantastic shows, by the way. CBS has a fantastic lineup, up and down. Daytime TV, fantastic. Nighttime TV, fantastic. 4 a.m. I don't know what's on, but it's probably fantastic as well. CBS, we love you.
You work for CBS, right?
Yes.
Okay.
CBS is the best.
Please don't fire
me. It's a tough time to be looking for a new job. Please don't fire me, CBS.
CBS, we love you.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to get into spoilers, and we're going to get into the spoilers right after this. Okay, we are back, and we are back talking with the amazing Alex Willett from Big Brother OTT. Thank you so much again for joining us here. I want to get into the spoilers now. So if you've been listening and you don't want to know what's going to happen for this week, you don't want to avoid any speculation, you can peace out now. We won't be too hurt, but if you stay with us, we'll have some fun here. But you've been warned. So the HOH competition, we're going out on Thursday night, and Kaysar's done. Kaysar's got all 3 balls landed. Everyone else is still trying to qualify for this thing. And it's like the best case scenario, right? Because like, if you've got to rate like how interesting the next HOH is going to be, like Kaysar's at the top of the list. Like he's the one you want to win, right? Get some revenge here. It's like, I love a good power. I love a good when power changes hands. That's my favorite thing in Big Brother. That's one of the reasons why I love the Big Brother of the Top, the double eviction episode. It starts with some sadness because we lose Alex, and then it's like, oh, we're all in trouble, and then everything turns around, and it's fun. Maybe not as fun for you, but yeah, it happens.
I was crying in my hotel room when that was happening, but it worked out well.
It works out so well for Morgan. It works out fantastically for her. But I'm hoping for this big power change flip thing going on. Let's get some Kaysar in there. Let's see what he's going to do. It does not look like that winds up happening. And it looks like our winner, HOH winner for week 4 is the Meow Meow, as we've seen, Enzo. Enzo is our HOH. I mean, Enzo is part of the Power Alliance, so that is maybe not the most interesting scenario as far as where the nominations are going to go. But I will say that we are fortunate, maybe not fortunate this week, but we don't have Janelle and Kaysar next to each other. So if Kaysar does win a veto, it can't be Janelle. It's got to be someone else. There's a chance for this week to be pretty interesting.
Right. There's and we'll take a chance at this point. At this point, we'll take anything for this season to be interesting. So yeah. Like, what kind of comps is Kaysar good at for the veto? Like, did he even, like, I can't remember. I need to go back and rewatch the old seasons. But if production's listening, if you could make the veto very winnable for Kaysar, that would be fantastic.
A Janelle trivia competition. That's all it is. It's just
it would be great.
10 questions about Janelle.
Yes. That's what we need. That's what the people need.
Or I would even go, like, one of my favorite veto competitions, and I haven't seen it in a while, is like the how bad do you want it veto competition, where people are like volunteering for punishments, because that's like a competition where the person who needs the veto the most is usually the person who wins it. And like everyone else who wants to throw it does throw it. Like, that's what I want. I want to see one of those.
We want that. Like, come on, this is All Stars. When you mentioned that comp just now, I literally started tearing up thinking about it, because that's the Big Brother I miss.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sick of these stacking the starfish competitions, running around in a squirrel costume, like OTT. I mean, don't get me wrong, OTT's fine, but like I want the old school stuff so badly. So
yeah, there are so many great little old school things that we made. Like that's, you know, I feel like that was one of the things we learned this week. You know,
yeah.
Tyler may
like
think
old
old school is boring, but there's a lot of really great stuff we got.
Old school is Big Brother. This is it's just yeah. Old school is where it's at.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see where the veto goes this week. But it should not surprise you to know that if Enzo is HOH, that Kaysar is in trouble. He is likely going to wind up on the block. I do not know if it is official yet, but I believe it is going to be Kevin and Kaysar together on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if Kaysar comes off the block, he very well could. Maybe even if he doesn't win veto, maybe there's backdoor. I don't know about that, but anything could happen. It looks like there are two possibilities if Kaysar does come down, and it looks like the strongest, like 95% possibility here is Ian. Ian is the person who is going to get backdoored, it looks like, if a backdoor has to happen this week. Otherwise, it's probably going to be Kaysar. That's how it looks right now. But
is
super
sad.
super
That's the sad future. One thing I wanted to mention, you know how the safety suite is whatever it's called is done.
Yes.
Okay. If production was smart, they know we want Kaysar saved. We want that big alliance broken up. So it'd be a really great time for them to implement a new twist to save Kaysar. Like if we could just manifest that happening, this is the week to do it. So, and I would like to think that there's a slight possibility that could happen, right?
Well, we know that there are different rooms will open up throughout the summer. We've only had one.
Let's open that room right now. Let's open that Pandora's box right now and bring Janelle back. Thanks.
Yeah. A friend of mine suggested that they're really hoping they've been crossing their finger. And I will say, like, throughout the entire Janelle interview with Julie, I was just thinking, like, don't tell her anything game. Like, as long as you don't tell her anything about the game, there's still a chance that you're going to come back. So don't tell her anything. Like, who do you think the votes were? No, don't talk about it.
I think we were all screaming at our TV, like, shut up, Julie.
Yeah. But one of their suggestions was, like, what if it's like a spy, like they bring back like a Big Brother candidate, like a spy suite or something, where it's like you're out of the game, but like you're actually just like in a room somewhere where you're watching what's going on, but you're out of the game. It's like, we would have accepted just about anything to keep Janelle in the house.
It could have been the worst twist we've ever seen, and we would have all been like, Allison Gardner, we love you. Please, like, we bow down.
Us Big Brother fans, we're terrible because we will destroy them based on the twist, depending on who the twist helps.
I know.
Our opinion on the twist depends entirely on how it turns out.
It's so true. For years, we've been like, we just want a game with no twist. And then this past week, we're like, please, we'll take a twist. Mm-hmm. Please rig the game for us. So
any more of that coup d'etat? Can we get a coup d'etat real quick? Seems like a waste to leave that in the hands of Big Jeff. Anyway, so it looks like Kaysar is in a tough spot here. And I think if this is a season where there's so much concern about a battle pack and there's so much concern about Kaysar and Janelle being reunited, I don't see Kaysar being a huge target except for the fact that people are worried about him maybe getting back in the game with Janelle. I think that's the biggest thing he's got to worry against. Like, if there's a way for Julie to just let him know, like, there's no battle back before this week happens, like, maybe things will go a little bit differently. But I think that's like the biggest thing he's got working against him right now.
Yeah, I think if he can slip through this week, if he wins the veto by some miracle, I really do think moving forward, the target's gonna go away from him, and hopefully he can make jury. It'd be really lovely if he can make jury this season. So
yeah, first time for everything.
Yeah.
It's he and you're right. He's got to win the veto. He's just got to last long enough for the story to change. Yeah, the story is just gotta change.
Basis. Yeah, he's basically just got to get through this week. Like, please.
Yeah. It would help if he got through the next week as well. Maybe that
would be great.
Ideally,
if he could just make final two, that would also be great.
That would be good. I would not be.
You would like that.
I would not be upset with that. All right. So we have no safety suite. The safety suite is closed. Goodbye, safety suite. It was fun while it lasted. So there's no special competition that we know of that's happening right now. So it looks like it's going to be a fairly cut and dry week. Hopefully we're going to keep our fingers crossed that it's an interesting week. But I want to say, like, we were worried last week would not be interesting because it's just Kaysar and Janelle, and like, obviously, like, whatever is going to happen, it's going to be one of those. But there were plenty of people causing just errors all over. Like, David just blew himself up. So maybe David will blow himself up again. Maybe David will play even worse, and that's what we'll be talking about. So
good. We want that. We want that. David, do your thing. David, come in clutch for us. David, deflect off of Kaysar. Get yourself nominated. And that's honestly probably our best bet right now.
And I don't think that's the worst possible bet here. Like, I could see there's no reason why Enzo wants to keep David. I don't think like that's not a tight bond there. Like, it could very well happen. The best thing for Kaysar is for someone else to just throw themselves in front of the bullet before it comes. And David's the only one. David's the only one in the house with that unique skill set to do it, I think.
I know.
I think everyone else is a little bit too experienced at the game. But David might be able to pull it off. I just wish he had watched the show. Just
it's like season.
Yeah.
Just one. The bare minimum would have been great, but
yeah. Him and Paul have a lot to talk about not watching the show. They should have watched the show. All right. Anyway. So I think that about wraps us up for this week here. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I know Lance is heartbroken that he is not here, but I'm glad to have had you all to myself here for the Big Brothers and Sisters episode that we got today. Thank
you for having me.
Oh, of course. Of course. Do we have any more predictions for how this rest of the season is going to go?
Walk
me through. What's going to happen?
I truly think that this season is going to end up being a decent season. I know right now we're like, this is the worst thing we've ever seen. I really think the alliance is going to implode on each other and we're going to get a good second half of the game. So that is my prediction. And I predict that Christmas, Enzo, and Bailey are in the top 5. So
okay,
that's where I'm at now.
All right, you heard it here first. I like the prediction actually. I think that could wind up happening. And I think you're right. I think this is going to be. You can't judge it on week 3. Like I said, you can't judge it on week 3.
Yeah.
I think it's a good sign that once this large alliance starts taking shots at each other, I don't know who's going to shoot who first. It really depends on who wins and who's winning veto and like. There's so much that I don't know about how the season's going to go. Like, we can say like, okay, these people are in trouble. Like, we got a few people who are in trouble right away. But like, you could just as easily see Kevin go out this week as you could see Kevin making it to the end of the game. Like, there are just so many question marks out there. And I think that's fun. I don't think you don't want to like a 19 super predictable where you can just like, you've got the list. Like, you just know the order everyone's going out. Like, we don't know that yet. No. So there are a lot of really good, I know they may not fan favorites, but there are a lot of really good players in the game.
It's true. It's true.
So we wish it was Janelle, but you know what? If we got Enzo playing a really good game and we got
and
Cody
Tyler
playing a really good game. And
Tyler, now that the queen's gone, we can start focusing on the other good game players, I guess. So it's their time to shine now. Let's see what they can do.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to shine with us, Alex, or to shine with me, I guess. Talking about Lance when he's not here. Oh, there he is. Okay. So do you have anything to plug while you're here? Should we follow you on social media somewhere? What should we be doing, Alex?
Sure. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. It is at AlexShay1, or you can follow me on Instagram at AlexShayWillett. But that's all I got. Other than that, I don't know you got anything else to plug.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll get this all disinfected for you, your puppet, and we'll set it aside for you, and we'll make sure you get it. Thank you again.
Yay.
Thank you again so much. Faithful listeners, if you liked what you heard, please consider subscribing to the Big Brother Brothers if you haven't already. We're available on all the hottest podcasting apps, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever you find good podcasts, you'll find ours. We snuck it in there. And if you really, 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 really like what you heard, leave us a review. Lance likes the 5-star reviews, but I'd just like to know you're thinking about us. So 5-star. Anyway, thank you so much for showing up. Join us back here next week. We're going to be talking about Big Brother all season long. Bye-bye, everybody.